Hello, welcome back. Welcome to Stop Now. This is a call in show. We are playing the Truth or Dare game show. So, you all are quite excited on this Sunday, and we are really happy to have new members to our team. And hopefully, I will be sharing more details on those things either in this show or in the next show. Meanwhile, I am trying to play it out what we have done so far in this week, and then we can go from there. So as you all know that this is a social experiment project, and we are running some campaigns, and we need volunteers and people who are interested to contribute to make a betterment in the society. So let's jump into the today's new video, and then I'll go from there. If any caller joins in, we can talk about more and play the game of Truth or Dare. And a quick reminder, you have the Zoom link shown on the website, so that is where you have to click in and join. It's down below. And if you prefer to call in, you don't have the opportunity to join through online through the Zoom call, you can always call us. The number is displayed on the screen. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So the link didn't work.
Yeah, it works.
So typically, I think tomorrow you will have an interview, and I think that she's going to be there because generally there are two people, but she has not mentioned any other name. So I sent you the link in so that you can just check her background, what her background would be. It will be easier for you to anticipate a little bit, or unless you know someone who works with her or you have in common. So that will actually help. I mean, I attached the resume also. One quick second.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah, so just go over that and the highlights that I have sent. So maybe that will be eye-catching for them. And just go over your resume, the experience that you have worked in the past. They have a little bit of concerns regarding your on-site thing. So, just be positive, and it should be fine. It shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, no worries.
And typically the ask question is they will ask to give you enough time to explain what you have done. And they try to check that, what you have done and what will you bring to the table to them once you're onboarded. So you can explain all the technology, and I've already run by in brief, what the overall picture is. So you can just explain about experience, projects in a way that you are more close to the work environment.
Sure. Yeah, I understand the blanking client, so I know that what will be the expectation. I'll handle that. No worries.
Yeah. And anything else you think you have any questions from me or?
I mean, not right now. Hopefully, once we go through this, I might.
Sure. So you will have a time difference from them, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So just, but the calendar will have the right time. That just be a time zone, so it shouldn't be a problem. It will pop at the right time.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you get a chance, maybe at the end you can ask them what the next step would be, and now they know about you. How do they feel and stuff. So that give you a chance to counter. If they have something in mind that any area that you have not worked on too much, which I don't think so, because you have all the skill set. I mean, they are on clouds, you have worked on the applications and stuff. They use Jira, and you have extensive experience using Jira, in the project management side. So I'll catch up with you once you're done with the interview, maybe a little bit to go how it went so that we can follow up with them. Generally, they're very prompt, but because they had given 2 slots for you, one tomorrow and one Thursday. So I'm not sure. It doesn't show in the portal that they have any other interview for Thursday, but they had given an offshore day of Thursday. So we should have an answer, what I anticipate, by Friday.
Okay. No worries. Sounds good.
So sounds good. And this is your direct number, right? I can text you anytime, I guess.
Yes.
I actually got a little nervous. I was like, oh God, now I'm not able to reach you. Did you find something? Did you start somewhere?
Okay. Texting is preferable. Like I won't be able to take the call because I
Uh-huh.
will be on another calls and other things.
Exactly.
So
And text is always easier. So
yeah,
when I didn't hear back on the text, I didn't even send you the email because mostly people, it's easier to access text even if you're with people or on call or here and there.
yeah.
So keep me posted. Do you have anything very close? I don't think so, right? I mean, you have taken interviews, but any offer that you're waiting or
No,
something like that?
no, nothing.
Nothing really right now. Keep me posted, either ways, and I'll keep you posted on the client side though.
All right. Thank you.
I know it's a very long email, but just go over, those are the stuff we have presented. A
Sure.
small note on Capital One. They're headquartered out of McLean.
Okay.
Yeah. And even if they decide, say the earliest, they decide in September, Labor Day weekend, they will give everybody 6 weeks time to make arrangements.
Sure.
Even people who are local, if they have kids, they have to make arrangements for daycare and stuff. So they are going to get 6 weeks time depending on which group is going to decide when. The earliest expected would be September 1st week. A lot of teams, they're going to decide in December. Okay.
All right.
So even if you can ask her what's the plan on site, but just be positive there.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
But, or you can let it go. If she comes up with it, then just show your flexibility. 6 months we can always get away with, and then we'll figure it out later on. See, once they will like your work, they will be convinced that you can work in a different time zone. I don't think so they will ask you.
Okay. Yeah.
Otherwise, they are having cases where they have not even picked your resume. They are submitting it from California.
Sure. Yeah, I understand that. Thank you.
That's a plus, that they have picked up the resume, seeing that it's California, so that's a plus.
Okay.
And thank you for accepting in such a short time frame. I mean, this they do it pretty frequently, not very often, but yeah, frequently. Like the next day, they are sending it today for tomorrow. That's why I think she was giving a Thursday as a fall back on.
Okay, I understand that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, take care though. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. This was the call that the recruiter, right? We are playing this game, so we are going to give our audience the opportunity to play with us, find out who this person is and what the vendor she represents, and obviously we are giving clues, and also you have the full interview as well published in our website. You have to do some work to get the prize. You can see, I have shown some of the evidences, and I will play out the remaining.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Praneeth.
Yes. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How about you?
Hey, good. Sorry, do you go by JK or J or?
JK is fine.
Perfect. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, same here. So is it you and me, or someone else is also going to join?
Yeah, it's actually just going to be us two, actually. So it should be good. Give me 1 second to kind of just pull up some notes and stuff, and then we can get started. But other than that, how's your day going?
Yeah, good so far. No worries.
That's awesome. Okay, give me 1 minute. I should be able to get started in just a second here. So overall, for the agenda for today, I was just hoping to kick us off with a quick intro of myself and the position here, Capital One, and then I figured we could just start going through your resume and some questions and follow through there. And then we can wrap up with any kind of questions that you have for me after that. Anything else that you have on your plate? Anything you wanted to ask me before, or does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, I can get started here. Actually, let me get my video up. Are you able to be on video interview?
Yes, sure.
Cool. I'm gonna start my video just a second.
Ah.
Hey.
Hi.
Nice to meet you virtually, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So I'll go ahead and get started. I hope you got a bit of a brief from your company and stuff. But basically, my name is Praneeth. I'm a technical PM here at Capital One. I do a lot of program management here, and I've been here for the past 5 years or so. We're actually looking to augment our team and add some PM/tech skills to our practice here, set some standards, and deliver on some nice projects that we have coming up the pipeline. So that's kind of where we are today. A lot of the work that, for this position would really entail working closely with our middleware teams and organizing and kind of communication plans, et cetera, for a large number of clients. So that's kind of what this position is really going to entail, is just working with a large number of clients, managing risks, customer communications and stakeholder communications, et cetera. So that's just a brief description of the role and what the project is really going to be. And I can get more in detail after that, maybe later on. But maybe we can start with maybe an introduction of yourself. I have your resume up and I'm taking a look. Maybe do you want to start with walking me through that? Yeah, no, that's great to hear. Yeah, I think there's along the same lines, right? That's kind of how what we're looking for here in the role is to kind of bridge that gap, as you mentioned, between the tech teams and the portfolio leads and the stakeholders. I would love to kind of walk through the resume, like the different previous projects, et cetera, the ones that you think are closely tied to something that you might be doing here. If you don't mind walking me through those.
Yeah, sure.
Got it. Yeah. So maybe we can do a little bit of a deep dive on maybe one of the projects. I think you mentioned the Bank of America one or your Anthem Healthcare experience. Do you mind just walking me through like what kind of project, or either one, maybe describe what you were trying to do, your team was trying to accomplish, et cetera? Part of it that you just walked through, but can you give me an idea of what kind of projects you were helping lead? Got it. Okay, cool. So there's a part, was just, as I was reading through your resume earlier, I think there was a part of it that caught my eyes, like, just working on S2 meetings to kind of remediate impediments and risks. And that's kind of something that we do on a regular basis here as well, right? So can you give me an example of a time where within that project where, you kind of had to say, hey, like we need to reevaluate our timelines or our approach to something, and can you tell me how you handled that conversation? Oh, sorry to interrupt. I was hoping you could give me kind of if you had a specific example or just even in general. So there's a part of your resume that says highlight involved in Scrum meetings, S2s, and highlight dependencies and provide the solutions to reduce turnaround time. I was hoping you could walk me through like, when a risk or impediment did show up, how would you start attacking that problem? Would it be through your team that you mentioned, or who all do you involve, and how do you work on escalations if needed? If you could walk me through that process a little bit. Okay, yeah, that sounds great. Cool, thank you for walking me through that. So I was hoping we could move on, and I had a question about the Bank of America project. Do you mind if we switch gears a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Great, yeah, and it was one of the key things for me and this project here at Capital One is how we're very AWS oriented, so it really helps to have everybody have at least a little bit of AWS experience. And I was reading through your resume earlier, noted that you had some AWS experience in this project specifically. Can you just give me a brief understanding of what you've done with AWS in the past, or even if you can just describe how things were set up, where your databases were hosted, or how the architecture was, at least at a high level. If you could give me any idea of your involvement with AWS there. It's large and overwhelming how many different dependencies there are, right? So part of the challenge that we're having, and part of as a program manager, is managing a lot of different dependencies, a lot of different risks, large groups and teams, right? So I was hoping you could kind of talk me through your experience in terms of managing large groups or teams under one program or initiative. Maybe you can tell me about some issues that you've faced and how you went about resolving them. Got it. Yeah, and then did you ever have maybe a specific scenario? Let me know if you can think of a time this occurred, but here at Capital One, we have a lot of times when the scope or priority of a program changes in the middle of execution. We'll be in the middle of a sprint, and then there's like a new priority that that takes the next 2 to 3 months of our time. So have you ever dealt with a situation like that? You were in the middle of execution, had to change priorities. And, how did you deal with those situations, and what did you do to make things better? Got it. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, so you mentioned, working with product owners and stuff. A lot of times, we have to, work with product owners or tech teams and, persuade them to do something in a different way or a different order. So can you give me an idea of how you went about, like, say, hey, product owner, we can't do this now. It makes sense to do it later. Can you kind of walk me through how you go through that process? What the consequences were, and how you kind of approach that conversation? And a lot of times, communication is pretty much it's like 80 to 90% of project management or, Scrum Master stuff. So can you kind of tell me a little bit about like your strengths when it comes to communications? What are you good at? And then if you can also follow up with where do you think you have an opportunity to improve? Yeah, so a lot of this role, and to get into a little bit more specific, is we have a series of middleware like legacy APIs at Capital One that we're trying to retire, right? And so all of it, and in fact, all of the programs that we're working on really are very heavily communicating, from dev team to product owners across the company and explaining what the situation is and hey, we need to retire such and such service, blah blah blah. So that was kind of what this question was about, is to just see your comfort level and your experience, communicating between the dev team and someone in the business unit and how you handle that situation. So that's actually all the questions I had. We went through it pretty fast, and I tried to jot down as many notes as I could. Do you have any questions for me?
Well, that was a good interview, I would say. You all know his name, and this is kind of giving you tips. Those who are interested, these are live interviews, real interviews, client interviews, and people who want to learn like how you will get questions and what kind of role it is and how you can prepare yourself and get a good job. Reach us out. We are here to help everyone. So that is the fun part here on these things. These social experiments are for good, and we are trying to change. And if you notice that like these interviews, my answers have been edited and it has been shortened, because we don't want like to bore by posting the entire interview in the game show and then like not able to get to the callers or answers any of the questions that you all have. So hopefully we can play more on this. And we had two more new team members joining. One is Jason, and he was our guest last week and even this week, and he was really a nice person, and it's a honor to have him in our team, and he is joining, and hopefully he will play the Nate role, and we will try to see how he can do in the next coming weeks. And also the other person, Seba, he said he will also be joining, and he's doing the RAM profile. So that is all the update I have. And I did wanted to show how this recruitment industry works. If you all can see my screen, even on Saturdays nowadays they have started providing us with, I have no idea what this role is about, but then Nate has got more than 130 emails within 2 weeks of his profile setup. And even in LinkedIn, we wanted to take down on the LinkedIn and make some controversy over there. And hopefully you guys can see my screen. If not, let me reshare this. Right, he has been viewed for more than 126 times in the last 1 week. Nate, you are a hot requirement. Hi, welcome to Stop Now. This is an interview for another candidate with Bank of America through a vendor. All right, let's roll for this PM opportunity. I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Let's give it a minute. We're waiting on a couple of my colleagues to join this call.
Okay, no worries.
They're physically gonna perform the interview. I'm kind of coordinating it. Just to tell you, I mean, this is for the technical project manager position. We're looking for somebody to work with our teams. We have a couple of Scrum teams, part of the Small Business Salesforce program, to kind of, lead some initiatives that they're working on. That typically at any given time, we have a lot of initiatives that's happening. They tend to come in terms of epics that the team have to develop. So we kind of need somebody to kind of lead these initiatives with working with our teams and different business partners at the bank.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Thank you for that update.
So let's give it a minute. Just give it a minute to join here. Maybe let me ping them. All is just waiting. Let's give it a minute here. I'm also trying to see where they are. Give me a sec. Hey guys, I give Manny a summary of the position. So I have another call I have to attend to. By giving these guys a summary of what you do now, of your experience, and then they'll jump in with questions, and then we can move on there.
Sure. Thank you, Will.
All right, sorry guys, I have to drop. You guys can go from there. Thank you.
Hi, Antonio, Rambo.
Hi, Manny.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, and nice to talk to you both. So to walk through my profile, my experience, I have been a project manager.
Yeah, Manny. I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So I thought I lost the connection. Sorry about that. So that was my overall experience. And if you want me to go over specifics of my project experience and client related, I can walk you through on that as well.
Hey, Manny, this is Antonio. Yeah, I actually do. I just would like to dive a little bit deeper, if you don't mind. A question I like to ask involves kind of telling us more about how you started your career. I see you have lots of different experiences and roles there. So what I'd like to learn is how you started and what kind of opportunities did you have to get yourself into new roles with new experiences and gaining all the knowledge that you have today. Okay, great. Thank you for that. One more question I'd like to ask. It's for us to get an idea or a feel for your approach or your style in terms of communication up and downstream between things like tech teams and senior management, how you communicate information or metrics, status, any kind of risk, steering meetings, things of that nature. Just kind of walk us through your style, your approach to upstream, downstream communication for that situation. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Oh, I was expecting the next question, or the next point to have the discussion.
I'm finishing up some notes right now, but Randall, if you have any questions you'd like to jump in, please feel free.
Sure, I'll take it. Sure. Manny, could you walk through any of the technical side of it, your involvement on the project, just to get a feel of the depth of technical expertise you may have? Do you have experience leading any of the integration type of projects between systems, web services, anything on those lines? Great. Could you walk through a little bit on the details? Again, not the core technical details. The kind of integration you might have been involved with the Salesforce. Just like at a project level, like, what is the functionality you were trying to accomplish, and, kind of like a little bit more details on the type of work you were involved. Okay. Got it. So is it like more like a real-time web service?
Yes. Yeah.
What would be your approach on the, let's say, there's a larger project where you need to kind of align with the team, right? So at the end of the day, if you're leading an effort, you need to get it to the team. What would be your approach with the work breakdown structure? I mean, how would you approach? I understand. Yeah, I'm looking at more like, we within our team, we don't have such a large scale projects. I was more looking at compared to the scale that you are presenting. I'm looking at more like a small capability or the epic level. I'm kind of that's what that at that level. My question was, like, say you get a kind of functionality wherein you need to build your UI and placeholders and have some functionality built around it. Right? Let's say you're familiar with the Salesforce. Let's say, assuming that we are implementing some functionality around the account, and we need to enhance the UI and kind of create some business rules, something like that. I mean, which context? How would you go about breaking down the work so that team can start working on in the agile process? Good. What would you look, when you're creating, or whoever product owner is creating, right, as a project manager, what would you look in that story? And when a large piece of work is coming, what are the attributes that you would pay attention to? I'm more looking at breaking down into chunks, like where you build the data model, then you build the UI, and then you build the business rules or whatever the functionality around, and that kind of breakdown that I was looking at. Again, you might have done it, you might not have been thinking into the exact terms. Antonio, do you have any more questions for Mani?
No, I do not. I think I got everything I needed. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for us about the nature of work, anything that you may have for us?
Yeah, mentioned brief on the project, but if you can, I always get to know about the people and the dynamics of the team size more than the project. Like, that will help me out, like to what kind of role I need to play. That will help me out if I can have an understanding.
Oh, yeah, sure. I can give you a little bit of a Bo is our release train engineer. I mean, he has he can probably speak in more technical terms about the team, but we have two Scrum teams. Think about 14 developers. We have 7 each in each of the Scrum teams. And the typical role, that the technical project manager role, it typically involves not like the level of scale of projects that you were talking about, right? The scale of projects that we deal with are like more at the more epic level, right? So maybe at the more scaffolding level, not really beyond that. Okay. Well, in a given quarter, the technical manager could be handling maybe 2 to 3 epics, around that range, maybe 3, 4. That's the average, I would say, around 3. Right? This kind of involves leading the epic end to end. That is, a lot of times product owners does the product go through the intake process for the epic. But again, from that point onwards, it is the technical lead, the technical project manager's responsibility to drive things. Now, understanding the requirements and making sure all the stories are being created and they kind of align with the iterations, all the things that you talked about, sequencing, right? Whatever that it takes for us to complete delivery of that particular epic. That's one part of it. And second thing is like, sometimes there are projects that are running at a program level. So we are going to be part of a bigger, larger program where we need to support the program with the deliverables. And understanding the dependencies, like say the capability comes to the program level, And we need to kind of sit on those calls, understand what would be the impact and what are the teams that are impacted by the change that we need to deliver, right? So if we need to deliver a piece of functionality to support the program, then we need to understand the dependencies and provide the dependencies back to the program and make sure that respective teams are there. So it's kind of like providing status updates, understanding the dependencies, and supporting the team at that level. And the third type of work is it's kind of like running the business. You might get so the capabilities that you may be leading once they go to production. If there's something level 2, things comes up. A lot of times you would have more knowledge, right? So again, you still, as a technical program manager, you wouldn't code or anything, but you still kind of drive the resources, facilitate the process. Maybe it requires a story creation, whatever that needs to happen at that point, right? It's kind of like running the business. There could be some compliance, upgrades, or whatever that ad hoc work that might come through. So at a broader category, at a broader level, yeah, those are the 3 buckets that I would categorize the work.
How do we go from there?
No, I think Bo leads the kind of as a team, we get together and share the feedback. And Bo, internally, we communicate to your agency. And what are the next steps? Next steps would be, if everything works out, my boss, Eric Johnson, is the one is going to have the second interview. And that's the next step. Both kind of communicates with your agency and walks through that process.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. So that was a long interview for almost 50 to 1 hour kind of thing. They bored me to death. You can even see like with the edited version, I just asked a simple question and they were giving a big lecture. So this was for Bank of America client. If you all are interested to answer some questions in the later. So we covered 2 clients interview this week. And hopefully we will have some interesting things to discuss with my co-host the next week. And I will start to promote this channel and we will play the game going forward with more interesting stuff to come in. So till then, I am going to make a sign off, and I just wanted to make sure that you all are able to see my screen. If not, I need to figure that out as well. And with that, bye for now.